The first time I realized my life was slipping through my fingers, it wasn't during a crisis. It was during a quiet morning when I stood in my tiny apartment kitchen, holding a mug of coffee that had gone cold before I even took a sip. I was 30 years old, and I suddenly couldn't remember the last time I felt excited about anything. Not sad, not broken, just paused, like life had been playing in the background while I stood still. That was the moment everything began, and I didn't know it yet, but change doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives every day a little. My name is Maya Collins, and from the outside, my life looked stable. I worked as an administrative coordinator in a mid-sized company downtown. I paid my rent on time, showed up to work early, answered emails before they turned into problems. People often told me, "You've got your life together," and I would smile, because I didn't know how to explain that. Together sometimes feels like quietly falling apart in slow motion. My days were predictable. Wake up, work, scroll, sleep, repeat. I wasn't unhappy in a dramatic way. I was just absent from my own life, and every day a little, I stopped noticing myself. It started with a notebook. I bought it from a small stationery shop near the train station. Soft gray cover, empty pages, nothing special. I told myself it was for planning, but the truth was simpler. I wanted something that felt like a beginning. That night, instead of watching videos like I usually did, I opened the notebook and wrote one line. "I don't want to live like this forever." Then I stopped. No plan, no structure, no motivation. Just a sentence that looked too small to matter. I closed the notebook and didn't open it again for 2 days. On the third day, I wrote again. "I walked for 12 minutes today." 12 minutes. It didn't feel like progress. It felt like nothing, but I wrote it down anyway. The next day, I read 4 pages of a book. Still small. Still ordinary. Nothing dramatic happened. No sudden transformation. No burst of energy. Just repetition. But I kept writing because every day a little, I was beginning to notice something I had ignored for years. Change, however, doesn't come without resistance. One evening after work, I came home completely drained. My body felt heavy, my mind louder than usual. I kicked off my shoes, dropped my bag, and sat on the edge of the bed. A thought slipped in quietly. "You can skip today, it doesn't matter." And for a moment, I believed it. One skipped day wouldn't change anything. But I still opened the notebook. I saw the small entries, not perfect, not impressive, just consistent. And I wrote, "I showed up even when I didn't feel like it." Something inside me shifted, not my life, but how I saw myself. Weeks turned into months, and nothing outside changed quickly. Same job, same apartment, same routine. But inside, something was rebuilding. I started waking up earlier without forcing myself. I began walking longer without my phone. I noticed my thoughts more clearly instead of reacting instantly. Everything felt quieter, steadier. It wasn't sudden, it was slow, almost invisible. Every day a little, I was returning to myself. Then came a breaking point I didn't expect. At work, a mistake appeared in a report connected to my name, even though I wasn't responsible for it. I was blamed unfairly, and I sat at my desk afterwards staring at the screen, feeling anger and frustration build inside me. The old voice returned, "This is pointless, nothing changes anyway." That night, I didn't write in the notebook. I just stared at it for a long time. I almost stopped completely. But before closing it forever, I flipped through the pages. Not perfection, not success, just persistence. So I wrote, "Today was hard. I didn't quit." And for the first time, I understood something deeper than motivation, endurance. One morning, it happened without warning. I woke up before my alarm. Not because I had to, but because my body naturally did. I made tea slowly, sat by the window, and noticed sunlight on the wall in a way I had never paid attention to before. My mind wasn't racing. It was calm, present. I opened the notebook and realized I had been building a different life without noticing it. Not through big moments, but through small repeated actions that stacked quietly over time. Every day a little. People around me didn't immediately notice a change. To them, I was still Maya, still working, still responsible, still fine. But something in me had shifted. I spoke more clearly. I stopped over-apologizing. I stopped saying yes to everything just to avoid discomfort. Slowly, people adjusted to this version of me. Not because I announced it, but because I stopped abandoning myself in small decisions. That was the real transformation. No one tells you this clearly enough. Life doesn't change in dramatic moments. It changes in ordinary ones. In choosing effort over avoidance, even slightly. In showing up when nobody is watching. In doing small things that don't feel powerful, At first, but quietly reshape everything over time. Every day, a little doesn't look like much while it's happening, until one day you realize it was everything. A year later, I sat in the same apartment holding the same notebook, now filled with pages of small entries. I read the first line again. I don't want to live like this forever. And I smiled, not because everything became perfect, but because it became intentional. I wasn't waiting anymore. I was building my life quietly, steadily, and with awareness. I wrote one final sentence. I didn't change my life in one moment. I changed it every day a little. Then I closed the notebook, not because the story ended, but because I finally understood it never needed a big ending, only small beginnings that never stopped. Tonight, before you go to sleep, write one sentence. I don't want to live like this forever. Then tomorrow, take one small action toward the life you want. It may not feel like much, but one day you'll realize it was everything. If this story inspired you, like this video, subscribe for more life-changing stories.